going on, guys, and welcome to another video for Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn on my special update videos. Okay, so we got some cool stuff to talk about today, so let's jump right into it without any delays. We have a new blog that came out today titled NSFW. I have no idea what that stands for. Maybe one of you guys know, but who gives a shit, because this is what we got down here. Now, you're probably wondering who she is. If you've seen her already, you already know who she is. And I got some stuff to go on about, well, regarding her. So, without any further ado, let's go right into it. So, this is a post by Fern Hollis, in case any of you are wondering, and here it goes. As the old saying goes, all work and no play makes Fern Hollis a dull boy. On the other hand, all play and no work makes Fern Hollis an unemployed boy. Despised, most likely hunted, by hordes of Final Fantasy XIV fans patiently waiting for beta test content to be localized, and therein lies the dilemma. How to have fun while desperately trying to remain afloat in the seas of guild-leave objective text. I know. I can sneak over to the design team's booth and snap never-before-seen pics of scantily clad primals, and post them to the developer's blog. Score one for the lax security. Alright, so what you're looking at is two screenshots of a new primal, and you're probably wondering who she is. You probably guessed it already if you've been checking out some of the more intricate behind-the-scenes concept arts that have been shown on some of the live letter of the producers and elsewhere around the forums. He goes, that icy stare, that icy hair, could it be? Nah, it couldn't be. Or could it? Lady of Frost likes her diamonds in the dust form. Name rhymes with diva. Maybe we need a wider angle. This is a normal map sculpt data created using ZBrush, for those of you keeping track. Better. How about one more shot of the original artwork, just to make sure? Ha-ha. There we go. Undeniable proof that this can be none other than Siren. Ha-ha! I mean, Shiva. That was from Fern Hollis, so yes, if you haven't figured it out yet, this is Shiva. This is her concept art of how the primal in Final Fantasy XIV, the ice goddess, is going to look. And let me tell you, from my personal opinion, I think she looks fucking awesome. Now, just to quench out any fires that may have broken out over seeing this, you're probably wondering, oh my god, why is she like human looking? Why is she not blue? Well, they said they used ZBrush to create the models, and I have no idea how to work ZBrush. I've never used it before. I'm not an expert, but using my common sense knowledge and my powers of intelligence, I figured out that, well, she's only temporarily going to have that skin tone. I guess in the program that they're using, it's more like a default skin texture, and then this is basically a prototype where it's not finished, sort of like with the Chocobo Behemoth armor we saw a few episodes back. So I guarantee you, indeed, so you don't worry, she will look like this. She will be light blue by the time she is completely finished and ready for the game. Now the cape might still be like the same pinkish color, not entirely like this. Who knows? But regardless of her skin tone, and already knowing she's going to be looking more like that in the end product, she looks awesome. I think she personally looks awesome. Some people probably disagree. I heard a couple people say they love the Final Fantasy X Shiva. I haven't played 10 yet. I will do when the HD version comes out. My cousin loves 10, by the way. It's his favorite one. So he probably knows what everyone's talking about. But I haven't seen Final Fantasy X Shiva. Might have, or I probably just don't remember. But I don't know. For me personally, from the games I played in the Final Fantasy series, this one's a really awesome looking Shiva. I think she looks fucking hot as shit. Her hair looks really cool. It has like that goddess type swaying look when it goes like up and it just breezes in the back. And her, funny enough, her costume kind of reminds me of Ivy from Soul Calibur a little bit, which is not a bad thing because Ivy is hot as hell too, but very scantily clad. I mean, for all his shit, sure shit wasn't kidding, but really cool Shiva. And then just imagine that pic right there. Imagine it as light blue like that, and I think you have something pretty sweet. So Yeah, I'm really happy with how Shiva turned out. Remember, she's not the final product, so they still have her animations. They have to still make her look like that, so they're going to make her light blue. But this is what they have so far, and I think it looks really cool of what they made in ZBrush. I like it a lot. And she knows she has like elf ears, so she's like an Elzine, people were pointing out. And I pointed that out too when I first saw her. She looks like an Elzine ice goddess, which is really awesome. Very, very attractive primal, so that's pretty cool. I actually kind of wonder who's going to be getting Shiva. I kind of wondered the Sylphs, since you haven't figured out who their primal is. I wonder if Shiva is theirs, because in one of the faction leaves in Gridania, there's a faction leave that takes place at 9 IVs, which is just south of Moonsport Grove where the Sylphs live. Well, of course not in the new game, but in the old game I'm referring to. That's where the geography was located. And there was a faction leave where you had to collect Shiva's tears. And it was an item that a Keeker and Beastman stole or was looking for or something like that. And you had to like get it back. So that's the only ties of Shiva I've ever seen in the original 14 or ever hearing of her. So the fact that she's in the Black Shroud, or the faction referring to is in the Black Shroud, near the Sylphs, kind of makes me wonder if maybe that's their goddess. I'm probably wrong, but I don't know. It just sort of makes sense. But they'll probably add a bunch of new stuff into the game to create like a background for her and a place in the world. So we'll see what happens. But I do really love the concept art of how she looks and everything. I'm very pleased with it. So I'm one of the ones that is very happy with it. So that's my opinion and stance on it. So just showing you guys in case you haven't seen it yet. Really freaking awesome. I'm going to link this in the info box as always, so you guys can head on over here and check it out for yourselves. But yeah, it's going to do it for the blog for today. Really awesome. Very nice surprise. So let's go straight on to some forum topics with Rukiri to kick things off. This one is regarding, let's take a look-see, Linkshell Management in 2.0. Now, somebody asked me about this in my last video, and it was a pretty cool discussion. They were asking about, like, about free companies and link shells, and hopefully having the cool features in the free companies, if they would be in link shells too, they were hoping. So, if that's what you're wondering, and if you have any interest in Linkshell Management, this post is for you. So, here we go. Rukiri says, for those of you asking if the same management tools for removing inactive and offline players will be implemented for link shells as well, the answer is yes. We have a few more details to share with you. The dev team is currently looking into the possibility of allowing players to leave messages in the link shell and free companies. And I'm guessing that's the emote slash textual thing you type into the chat box to trigger it, I'm guessing. Slash Linkshell EMS. So Linkshell message is what it's abbreviating, for example. Then she continues by saying, they are also thinking about implementing a feature for free companies to leave comments for members. Now, you remember when we were talking about that in the last video, how I brought up the whatchamacallit, the story I was telling you guys about, how they talked about leaving messages when you sign into the game and stuff like that for your link shell LLC. Well, remember I was telling you 11 had that? Well, that right there says that they show interest in doing it in 14 also. And if you didn't see that video, you can actually go back at the point where I'm in the forum section, and I'll tell you all about it and stuff. But that's pretty cool how they pointed that out. It's almost as if they watched my video or something. They were like, hey, let's talk more about that one guy talked about in his video. I'm probably wrong. I'm just bloating. But anyway, sorry about that. So then she says, on top of members' comments, they plan on allowing leaders to customize different ranks and access levels within their free company. Lastly, free companies will have their own chat, so there is no need to create a link shell for your members to communicate with each other. So that's pretty cool. I like that. I like that a lot. That's really awesome. That's like music to everybody's ears that had a link shell in this game, and I think it's going to make the community a lot more active and communicative and much better off in the end. So that's great. All right, so let's go to our next topic, which is, a word from Yoshi P himself. So this is the, if you guys remember the forum post we talked about last time, what's with the drought? Remember that one? Well, Yoshi P apparently saw it, and he felt kind of bad that there wasn't a whole lot of information going on. So, I mean, me personally, I thought there was a pretty good, steady flow of information, but I can admit to a degree there could be a little bit more. So he felt bad about it, and Rikiri comes in here with a message from him, and she says first off, "Greetings everyone. Please take a moment and read below comment from Yoshi P." So Yoshi goes, "Hello everyone, this is producer and director Yoshida. There hasn't been much information to disclose, and I'm very sorry for making everyone wait. At this point, the development team is working on the final stages of beta test phase 1, myself included, and each day is passing by insanely fast. With each thing, there are so many things to do. The blog, the letter, and I'm sorry I haven't been able to get everybody up and going like I planned. For the Final Fantasy series, I'm extremely concerned about the quality of information, as well as screenshots and artwork that are to be released. You wouldn't believe what we have to go through even when we want to release something to our fans, lol. With that said, before something is released, I need to check it, so the promotional team cannot take it upon themselves to release assets. While there was already a reply from a rep about this, we are currently working on the official site to make adjustments to the readability and add information to coincide with the start of the beta test, and there are tons of tasks alongside this for development, promotion, and the new lodestone. With that said, we appreciate your patience. Once I send the next letter the day after tomorrow, I will be focusing on the current blog and will post some new beta-related material. So that's really cool to look forward to. And if today is Tuesday, Thursday is when the next letter from the producer will come out. So tune in for that when I have another video to go over that letter. Anyway, he finishes up by saying, "P.S. Within the next couple of days, I will be performing the final checks for the first benchmark, World Volume, and then it will undergo the final quality assurance check. We would like to distribute this right before Phase 1 of the beta test begins, but I think it's looking pretty good, so please look forward to it." So that's from Yoshi P, straight from the horse's mouth. So that's pretty cool how the director and producer is that in touch with his community and his fan base that he actually goes and sees posts and forums that the dev team brings him and he comments on them. Like, he doesn't have to do that, but the fact that he types out something that large to get his sympathies across and connect with people and communicate to keep the relationship fresh and not stagnate with people wondering what's going on, that's pretty cool. So that's another reason I love Yoshi P. He's a great guy. Alright, so that's going to do it for that post. This one is nighttime. Now, if you guys remember from the last episode, this was the blog post that we went over about the nighttime in Eorzea. So it's fittingly called nighttime. And some people post pictures. I don't know what this is all about, but I guess they're just discussing all the nighttime effects and things that have to do with it in this forum. So Okipui comes by and he goes, "Greetings. We're glad you all enjoy seeing Gridania at night in the latest developer's blog post. If you're anxiously awaiting the next blog update, you'll be happy to know that we spoke to the project manager who told us that she would be doing her best to update the blog 1 to 2 times a week, which means Fern and Purnaby better stay on their toes." So, for any of you guys that love reading the blog sections that I do on the videos, well, she's going to be doing plenty more of them, so get ready for Fernhales and Pranarabi to be doing way more of these, and I'll keep you guys updated as much as possible, as frequently as possible, with as much content and information as I possibly can muster into these videos. And yeah, so awesome. Plenty of more information and blogs to look forward to. Alright, so let's go to the next one. And this one is from Okipui in the enemy sign functionality. This one I like. This one I love the enemy signs. And I'll get into that in a second after I read his post. So, Okipui says, "Greetings. I'd like to give you all an update on the status of the marking feature we have been working to revamp. Enemy and ally signs will be combined into one category. Only party leaders will be able to mark targets. It will be possible to use this freely. No more guild leave or other content restrictions." So, for anybody that doesn't necessarily understand what he's referring to, if you haven't played the game, or if you have played the game and you haven't ever used the marking signs, which a lot of people that I know play the game have never used them or even really know what the hell they're used for. Little story. So, back when well, basically when the game first came out, but maybe a few months or so. I'd say in 2011 and late 2010 as the game was out. There were these things that you could do where if you targeted an enemy during a behest, which happened every 30 minutes at camps that people can participate in together to cleanse monsters in the area, leave quest, and I think quests and stuff like that, anything that had like a mission or objective tied to them, you could basically target the enemy and you can put these little icons over their head. So like, for example, I used to host a lot of behests back in the day at this camp in Limsa territory of Leonesaurus called Camp Skull Valley. Actually, not Skull Valley, it was Bloodshore. And there was a couple other ones I used to do too. I would sit at the guy and I would immediately spam the button to get into the behest, so because people used to fight over it because you get a lot of XP, and there was only like a cap of like 8 people, 16 back when the game first launched or something like that. And anyway, when I used to get in, I would invite everybody in the area because you can see their icons of who's actually subscribed to the behest and who's not. So I would invite all them, we'd all be in a party, and I would run around like leading the charge, and I would click on an enemy, I'll be like, okay, target that guy, and we'll put like a little icon of a sword on top of the enemy's head, and everyone would just swarm the shit out of that guy and be like, okay, attack that guy next. It was kind of like Command and Conquer, like generals or some shit. Like you order your soldiers to like go fight them, and it's cool having like one person call out the orders of like who to go for next, so it's not like everybody's all over the place attacking 50 million mobs at once. It's very orderly, and it's really cool, and people actually really enjoyed that when I did that. So I used it a lot, but sadly, Behest kind of died out after a while, after a certain point in time, towards like, I'd say 2012, like people didn't really even do them anymore, and nobody, like I stopped using the marking feature because there was nowhere you could use it. Like in grind parties, you couldn't use it unless it was in a quest-related objective. If they're wild mobs, or if they're inside of a dungeon or a boss fight, it would not work. So what they're saying is now only the party leader can do it, which makes sense. So in my experience, I could live with that. Even though I would kind of like if anybody in the party can be chosen manually to do it. But, you know, I guess I can adjust to that. But anyway, it's saying that you could use it anywhere now. Not just guild leaves and content, specific content. So that's really cool. I like that a lot. So, okay, story time's over for that. I just wanted to throw that out there for anybody wondering. Whew! Okay, so the next post is Knockback Abilities, and this is under Things I Noticed in the New Alpha video. So, I'm not exactly sure what that one's about, but anyway, Rakiri says, "Greetings. We know that there were some requests from users who also wanted to have access to knockback abilities, if for nothing else than to get revenge for all the times you've been knocked back in version 1.0, which those fucking pigs used to knock you back all the time. It was so annoying. Those hogs, they would constantly ram you back, and if you fought like a bunch of them, they would fucking all ram you at once and push you like 100 feet back. It was really stupid, but now they're saying that you have the ability to do that back at enemies, but enemies also have the ability to pull you in. Kind of like with Chimera's ability, where he did that like fucking one thing and he dragged you in and attacked you. So I guess that's what she means. But anyway, she says, so we wanted to give you a brief update. We've actually begun implementing knockback moves into the game, and there were even some featured in the alpha version. And they're referring to the white mages or conjurers water spell. Water is basically, it's not very strong. It does damage, but it's weaker than wind and earth. And what it does is it serves to push an enemy away from you. Like you just click it and the fucker goes flying back like 30 feet. It's really cool. You could use it on bosses inside the dungeon and stuff. And you could use it on enemies too. So it's really cool to have an ability, like, because if you're a white mage and you're getting fucking swarmed by something, it's really cool to have like an ability to just be like, yo, back off, and be like, and he goes flying back, and it gives the people in your party the ability to run after him and fight him while the white mage is safe again. So a lot of people didn't like that because it was very weak and stuff. So it's cool to see that there's more abilities where you can knock people off and be more defensive. So I'm wondering if there's like water guh and like higher water spells, instead of doing a single target knockback, if it's like a AoE knockback, like if you do a big fucking tidal wave and just pushes all the enemies like straight away from you, goes flying to the other side of the room, and that makes you safe, and all your allies can just fight him on the other side while the healers are protected on the other end, and you just keep doing that over and over. That'd be really neat. But I could see that being annoying in PvP, like pushing someone off a cliff and killing them. I mean, some people would love that, I'm sure. It does sound like a cool idea, but yeah, I'm getting sidetracked here. Anyway, she goes, gotta find where I left off. We've actually begun implementing knockback moves into the game, and there were even some featured in the alpha version. Okay, here we are. Of course, enemies that use similar abilities are still around, and they even have other abilities to draw you in. You can expect that there will be a variety of ways your enemies try and attack you. Okay, so that's for knockback abilities in Final Fantasy XIV. So this is the lodestone. This one is very interesting if you're a crafter. If you have any interest whatsoever, if you're a current Final Fantasy XIV player, if you're a brand new player for the PC or PS3, if you have any interest in crafting or gathering, this is the post for you, and here's why. It's entitled The Lodestone Crafting Recipe Page. So Okipete enters and he goes, "Good evening. The new version of the Lodestone site will feature as much in-game information as possible when it comes to things like crafting recipes. You'll be able to see more detailed information like the item's level and stats, and such, and not be left guessing anymore. You'll also be able to easily search for recipes using updates to the search criteria too." So what this is all about is, in case anyone's like confused or doesn't know what I'm talking about, on this current lodestone that I'm on right now, if you go to the not the forum section, but the actual lodestone, there's on the left hand side, there's like a bunch of, getting started on the game, requirements, blah blah blah. One of the things is it's a recipe page. So basically you pull it up and it tells anybody who's crafting in the game, they can look up on the official lodestone. It says, "Oh, I need, two ingots and a feather to make a feathered helmet," or some shit like that. Well, that's great and all, but here's the problem. It doesn't tell you the stats on any of the items. It doesn't tell you the stats on any of the materials. It doesn't tell you how much it sells for. It doesn't tell you who the hell can... Well, it does tell you who can wear it, but it doesn't tell you, like, more intricate stuff. It's very basic, it's very bare, and it sucks ass in comparison to Moogle Box or this other fucking Moz Taptai. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but you know what I'm talking about. The one with the changing images in the background. Those were the two popular ones. And then, of course, there's Final Fantasy XIV Pro, which is the third one that I know of. And then there's miscellaneous others. But those were the main three. And those ones, like, they were like encyclopedias for the game. They did way better than anything the official lodestone can do. So, myself included, and a bunch of other people complained that the lodestone one is kind of shit. Like, it looks really nice, but there's like, it's inadequate. Like, it's not what you want. So it's good if you want to go there for brand new recipes that the new sites maybe don't have yet, even though most of the time they had them before anywhere else did. But anyway, suffice it to say, they're going to be up to date. They're going to be having as much freaking information as possible. They're going to be great. So not only are they updating that, but they're updating the whole lodestone too, and everything, including the forums, just like we talked about in one of the previous videos. So that's for you guys that are interested in that. So let's get to the last one. Excuse me. This is the gathering grades 4 to 5. Now this is for gatherers exclusively. Here we go. Okipete stops by and he goes, "Greetings. I'd like to give you all an update on the progress we have been making on gathering point grades. We understand that in 1.0 the gathering point grades varied quite a bit, which made it difficult to choose one appropriate for your level. In A Realm Reborn we will be preparing corresponding grades for each level. We feel this should solve the problem that many of you have brought up, where the experience points you were receiving past 40, level 40 he's referring to, from grade 5 nodes, from grade 5 gathering points, just wasn't enough to level up officially." So a lot of people complain that once you get past like a certain threshold of level, the XP on a gathering node becomes really fucking bad. Like, it becomes like a real grind. Like, it puts the fucking grind in grind. And I can't even, I don't know how, I can't even tell you how I did it before all these improvements to the game. I leveled up my miner to 50, and I think my fisher also, before they did all the huge changes to like the XP system and the gathering. So I'm still amazed how I got by it when I did. I'm fucking astounded. But they made a huge amount of improvements in the final days of 14. So now what they're saying is, without having to go through that hell again, there's all these improvements with the system where basically it's going to be more balanced and going to feel more flowing. So it's going to work better. It's not going to be it's not going to be a pain in the ass, basically. So he's assuring gatherers to look forward to that and not have to worry when you're leveling up to 50 for your first time on any of the 3 gathering classes that are in the game. So, alright, that's going to wrap it up for today. That's all the posts that we have. I'm going to link all these in the info box down below, as I usually do. So, yep, that's going to wrap this one up. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it informative, and hope you dig the new Shiva model. Head on over there and check it out and voice your opinion. So, I'll catch you next time, guys, and I'll see you then.